So you compounded that skill set.
Right. Without violating the non-compete.
Have you ever had to fire a client? And if so, why? And if not, would you?
One thing could be hiring the wrong people. If you build your organization around the right types of people, it gets so much easier to scale.
You have to delegate people for certain things that you might not know how to do or whatnot while still maintaining.
Would you marry someone you met yesterday? No.
Mostly I would not be in a situation where I was
exactly. Every time I tried to do too many things at once, none of them worked.
Hello, Zane. It's good to be here with you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, Jack.
Super happy we could do this. And yeah, just wanted to get into, just a few questions I had off the top of my head. So, you've obviously built and sold 2, now almost 3 companies. So is there anything that you feel, specifically in the marketing space, is there something you feel that is an important component of running a marketing company that most people in the space are missing out on right now?
I think it's really specialized in one vertical. It can be different niches, but one vertical. So what I mean by that is my first company did LinkedIn marketing for financial advisors. Built that, scaled that, sold that. Then my next one did LinkedIn marketing for capital raising, right? Built that, scaled that, sold that. Now it's LinkedIn marketing for general lead gen.
Correct.
The commonality was the LinkedIn infrastructure, but the difference was the niches. And I think anyone can succeed in the marketing industry as long as they're really good at one system. That could be email marketing, LinkedIn, running Facebook ads, Google ads, but you have to be really good at one thing, and then the niche you choose comes after that.
So you compounded that skill set
exactly
over and over again.
Right, without violating the non-competes after I sell the businesses. Exactly.
That's a good thing to say for everyone.
Right. For legal reasons. Right.
No, that's good to hear. So basically you were able to, build the skill set in that one area, but also, just apply it separately. So that's good. And then this is a little more of like a fun question that I had, but have you ever had to fire a client? And if so, why? And if not, would you? And for what reason?
Yes, 100%. In the beginning, when you're struggling to get business, you can't fire any clients. But after a while, when your business is established, you're doing 6 figures a month consistently and you're scaling, you want to focus on people that want to work with you, and you don't need to chase, you want to be chased. When I'm on sales calls with people, I don't beg them for their business. I make them sell them why they want to work with me. Because I have a track record. I've done this for years. I've made clients millions. There's no reason that I should have to deal with someone bitching and complaining over small things.
I agree. It's a very good, it's a good answer. I like that. And I agree. You certainly cannot be turning down clients in the beginning.
Absolutely.
I know the feeling well. Is there any major mistake or mistakes that you made early on that if you were to do it again, you would have front of mind and fix?
One thing could be hiring the wrong people. If you build your organization around the right types of people, it gets so much easier to scale. And in some of my earlier businesses, I hired people that didn't really have the qualifications, and they sometimes grew into the role, but I should have been more better at delegating them to do certain tasks rather than having them do other things. And so hiring is a skill set, and they say that the best managers are simply the best hirers, right? So get really, really good at hiring before you scale your business, and don't partner with the wrong people. Partner with people that want to be there for the long run, that believe in the vision, and that are willing to adapt and scale as the company grows. And that's my biggest advice to being able to take it to the next level.
That's very good. And that actually leads pretty perfectly into my next question, which might just be tied to that. But do you have tied to the answer to that one, but do you have a belief? Is there a belief that you can point to that you held at the beginning of starting your journey as a business owner that you now no longer hold or have replaced with a different one?
Well, in terms of belief, I think that nothing has changed in terms of my philosophy itself, but I think that it's important to focus on what you're good at. And in the beginning, my belief was that I could do everything. I thought I could be the accountant, I could be the sales guy, I could be the marketer, I could be the finance person, I could do everything. And that was ego talking. And at the end of the day, I'm good at a few things. Not good at that many things. I'm good at sales and marketing. So I built my business and hired people that were better than me at certain things. I hired an accountant, I hired a lawyer, I can't do everything. And so my belief about my abilities evolved based on my superpowers and my strengths. And I think every single person needs to know what they're good at and focus their business around their skills about what they're good at instead of trying to be a master of everything. Now, in the beginning, right, you have to do everything as an entrepreneur. As I'm sure you know, you have to be sales, finance, accounting, but delegate delegating effectively is one of the most important skills that someone needs to have in order to truly scale their business and take themselves out of the day-to-day. So that's the one belief that really evolved as I built my businesses.
And that's a good insight, because at the beginning of starting a business, especially as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, the instinct is to, look, the buck stops with you. You have to take accountability for everything, but you have to balance that with an understanding that you actually aren't good at everything. So you have to delegate people for certain things that you might not know how to do or whatnot, while still maintaining, ultimate responsibility and ownership of everything that happens. So that's 100%. Very good. As you step out of this space temporarily or long-term, and you had to think of like one thing that represents your time since like 19 or 20 running these companies, like what would you think of all the time you spent doing this? Is there one event or lesson or mistake or just something that kind of like you will never forget from the past few years?
The one thing that I've realized building all these businesses is that every time I tried to do too many things at once, none of them worked. Even in my own business, every time I wanted to build a new product or sell something just because I thought one or two people might buy it, took me 3 steps backwards.
Yeah.
And every time I focused on one thing and one core service offering, I was able to scale it. I wanted to be the master of everything. I wanted to sell staffing, LinkedIn marketing, email marketing, ads. I wanted to be a full service agency. And then I realized as a full service agency, I was a master of none and I never had the right pieces in place. Yeah. So I said, hey, I'm going to get to 100K a month. And I did for all of my businesses by just focusing on my main skill set, which was LinkedIn marketing. And I think people need to know what their main skill set is and go all in on that main skill set rather than trying to diversify too much too quick.
I agree. I cannot agree more with that sentiment. I think I've seen a lot of very talented people, probably more talented than myself, get distracted by these, shiny objects, and it's one thing, it's another thing. Maybe they're trying to do 5 things at once. Maybe they try one thing, and then as soon as it gets hard, they're like, wait a minute, this isn't gonna, gratify me in any short amount of time. So they move on to the next thing. So I do think that as kind of annoying as a realization it is to come to, you do have to realize you can be anything but not everything, and just choose one thing. And even if maybe it's not technically the best choice, if you stick with it, it will become the best choice eventually, because you'll be so much better off. So that's fantastic. That's really good. You've now sold 3 companies. You're about to sell your 3rd company. And at that point, you're a millionaire at a fairly young age. What's that feel like? How is that good? Do you feel like anything has changed about you? What do you take away from that?
Yeah, well, it feels good for a second. And then you have to realize, what's the point of making money? For me, the point of making money is freedom, the ability to travel, do what I want, and be with and hang out with the type of people I want to be like. And money is just a tool to get there. And at the end of the day, it's great to be a millionaire on paper and have money in your bank account. But what's most important is to understand that we're all still chasing our journey. And no matter how much money you have or how successful you are, you have to keep pushing and keep finding new motivation and new reasons to get to the next level. At the end of the day, no matter if you have 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, or $1, you can change your position and be the successful person that you know you can be by keep pushing through and keep going in every challenge that comes in your way. And I believe that money does not define a person, but their attitude and effort really does.
I cannot agree more. What advice would you give to someone in a 9-to-5 or, a more standard type of job situation that is looking to, build something up on the side or do something similar to what you've done?
Right. So one, you have to make a decision. Do you actually have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? And 90% of people don't. But if you genuinely think you do and you're willing to take that risk, start with a low risk business, low upfront capital. Don't start a manufacturing company. Don't start the next Facebook. Start a B2B service business. That could be a marketing agency. That could be IT consulting. And it should piggyback on your skill sets. If you're a cybersecurity person, start a cybersecurity consulting business. Start a business in that field that doesn't require a lot of upfront capital. The mistakes I see people make are getting bogged down because they realize they have to raise $1 million or they have to do all this before they start. Find a service that you can sell and sell it. Start with your immediate network and then start building through cold outreach. If it's in the B2B space, I'd recommend LinkedIn and email marketing as your tools to start reaching out and find the right tools for you that work with your business. For me, I used HeyReach for LinkedIn and I used Instantly for email. And there's a dozen other tools beneath that tech stack. But those are the 2 ways that I got my message out. All you need to do is sell. You need to get in front of people and get money in your bank account. Entrepreneurship is a lot simpler than people think it is. Get money in your bank account. Close deals and figure out the operational challenges as you generate revenue. One key philosophy that I have in business, Jack, is I think about creating a business backwards. Instead of thinking about what problem can I solve, which is how most people create a business, what I think is, How do I know how to distribute? Who do I know I can get in front of with marketing? Well, I know that my skill set in LinkedIn marketing is this, and I can get in front of these people. It could be, I have a network of people in this industry. Start with what you know how to get in front of people with, and then reverse engineer a product or service that sells to that niche. Because distribution is king. If you don't have a good marketing strategy, you're going to get wiped, even if you have a great product. Because at the end of the day, crappy products can actually succeed with the right marketing and the right outbound. So start by figuring out how to conquer marketing before you figure out how to build the product. That brings me on to my next point about building products is not as hard as it was many years ago. With the advancements of AI and technology, people can build Airbnb's infrastructure in a week. It took people probably $10 million in 10 years to build it 10 years ago. And now you can build it for a fraction of the price with 2 Indian developers for a significantly cheaper amount of money and a much faster window. So how do you win with technology being so easy to be built with the right marketing strategy? And that's what's really critical. And that's what's going to set the winners and the losers apart in 2025 and beyond.
That was very well said. And that leads into another question I was thinking about, which I've been meaning to ask. You bring up Airbnb, companies that have completely beaten the odds with respect to marketing. Do you feel that there are companies out there that are either super overrated, overrated in air quotes, in that their product is anywhere from fine to whatever, but their marketing is fantastic and that makes up for it? Or is there a company that stands out to you as underrated in that it has, maybe a fantastic product that you've come across, but the marketing is insanely subpar? Maybe some of them would be your clients if they need better marketing or something. Is there anything that stands out to you there?
Well, I think that there's a lot of technologies that are very similar, but one of them stands out over the other. For example, there's 100 different scheduling tools, but why did Calendly win that race? Yeah. There's 1,000 different email outreach tools. Why is Instantly and tools like that winning that race? Yeah. It's oftentimes due to distribution and founder-led marketing. If you're the CEO of a company, you should be repping that. You should be posting on your social medias, posting on your LinkedIn's, and building brands partnerships with your name. And a lot of the companies like Adam Robinson, the CEO of RB2B, is a great example. I love his LinkedIn content. Yeah. He's posting all the time and it's founder-led. I think the companies that have founder-led marketing and personal brands built behind them are more successful because they're more humanized, especially as more companies turn to AI to have that human aspect. So those are the companies that really set themselves apart. And yes, there are hundreds of companies that have crappy interfaces, terrible UI UX that succeed because they have the right founder-led marketing. I'll give you an example. Andrew Tate's The Real World, right? Andrew Tate created a course on how to make money. There's a bazillion courses on how to make money. How did he succeed? Because he created the most amazing referral program, 50% commission, letting people use that to scale with clip farmers. And he just sells like quick tips on how to make money, but people buy it because he has the right marketing strategy. There's a million other courses that sell the same thing, but his is winning because he gets attention, founder-led marketing, and distribution because other people are growing his product for him and he doesn't have to sell it. Yeah. So that's an example of somewhat of a product that might have an average interface that's just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, it's a quote overrated because the marketing is so just, all over the place all the time on social media, even to an extent today. It's just, it's going to do well due to the pure exposure. And that's an interesting thing because literally, anyone can look at, something like Calendly and know it wouldn't be hard to build that. You could probably pay, the Indian coders you mentioned earlier, a fairly, affordable amount of money, at least for some people, get it knocked out. But then the question is how the hell do you sell it, And so you are right. A lot of people go into stuff like this, not kind of hoping that'll figure itself out. And it really doesn't unless you grab it and take hold. So it's a very interesting conversation. And, as someone who might be watching this is, they're in their job, they're whatever, they're thinking about getting started. Do you have any advice on how they would know who they can trust in business, whether as a colleague or a business partner, or what should they look for? You talked about a product like Andrew Tate's. Like some people, it might be good, might be bad, but you don't really know if you can trust it necessarily. It's, another one of these self-help things, but it has fantastic marketing. How do they look out for something that might be over-marketed, or how do they look out for a business partner who might be like not all they're cracked up to be?
I think whenever you work with someone, even if it's a friend of yours, you have to understand that going into business with them can result in losing your friendship if the right expectations aren't established right off the bat. Whenever I go into business with someone, I tell them, hey, look, we have a personal relationship, but this business comes first. And we need to make sure we respect our business relationship over our personal relationship, or our personal relationship might fall apart. So what's really important when you choose a partner is to trial something before you go all in with them. Do a little side project, see how they work, see how you interact before you jump into a big project with them, even if it's someone you like, because just because they're your friend doesn't mean they're the right business partner. I have a lot of people that are friends that I would never do business with in a million years because I know that that would damage our friendship if things went wrong. So you want to find people that are like acquaintances or even friends, but people that you can trust by trial and error. Now, at the end of the day, the only people you can really trust is yourself. And you have to understand, like, business is tough. People are out to get you. I've had many times where I went into business relationships and just things didn't go well because the other person, for whatever reason, didn't operate out of good faith. So all you can control is your own attitude and effort and working in the most ethical way you can. But at the end of the day, you can't really trust anyone. So you have to try people out before you commit to them. Would you marry someone you met yesterday? No.
Most likely not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully I would not be in a situation where I was
exactly.
I would imagine in most scenarios I would not.
Right. Going to Tootsie's too much,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But yes. So
I have eyes only for one of who I came out of the womb thinking about her.
Right. But the point is, date before you marry, and it's the same concept in business.
I agree. And, I would, to add to that, test it out in little increments. Like if you do, a totally theoretical number, if you do a $10 deal with someone who's completely untrustworthy, the cost of that is $10. It's, like, obviously you should, date before you marry and try and build it up with smaller deals before big and this and that.
And also, this is advice in relationships, but it's also in business. If someone shows you their true colors, listen to them. If other people have said bad things about a person and you're not sure if it's true or not, find out before you actually commit to working with that person. If they've done other people wrong, they will do you wrong. People act in patterns and people are rare to change. So I'm very little trusting with people, and I would only work with someone I know that has a stellar track record and that's as successful or more successful than me. I don't have any reason to work with someone who I'm taking a risk on. If I'm doing anything, I'm doing it in a position of power and I'm leading the negotiation. I'm never going to let someone dictate terms to me. And that's how you need to feel. If the relationship doesn't feel right and the terms don't feel good for you, don't do it. Only do things that you feel comfortable with you leading. And that's why I think whenever you start a business, if I was giving advice to someone, you should be the CEO because you should have majority control and you should own it. Because the second you leave 51% or more of your company to someone else is the second that they have the ability to screw you over, regardless of what the bylaws say, because possession is 9/10 of the law. So be very careful who you do business with, go in trials and be just super vigilant about that.
I agree. I was just about to ask, like, if an employee came to you and wanted like more equity than you felt they were like owed or whatever, like would you just fire them on the spot because equity is key, or like how would you handle like a negotiation where they're like, I will not take a pay raise, but they were a talented employee? Would you cede that and give them equity, or would you fire them on the spot? Because I know different owners have different stances on that.
I think before you ask for something, for me, for example, if one of my employees, they have to prove value first. They can't just come in making demands. As long as they're proving value, the best way to ask someone like me as their boss for a raise is don't tell me, hey, I want this. Tell me, hey, Zane, I want to deliver this and this and this for the company. And if it's done, I would love to be compensated this. So don't ask for something. Tell me how you're going to make me money and you're going to improve my business. And you will be rewarded in kind.
I agree. I totally agree. And so now you've got another business coming up. All of these lessons will certainly go into your running of this new venture. Can you tell me a little bit about that, about Grow Big Ventures?
Exactly. Well, as you guys can see, we have Grow Big Ventures here. So I started a company with my friends Yarden and Ibrahim with the objective of completely changing the marketing agency model. Most marketing agencies charge 10, 20, or even 3, 5 grand as a monthly fee, and they're not incentivized to perform because their incentives are to get paid a retainer. Our business model is, instead of you paying us these high fees, we come in as a partner. We build the marketing infrastructure, build the operational infrastructure in your business. And then that way you're not paying us. We're participating in the upside of the growth that we build. And you're getting all the systems and tools that you'd normally pay 10 times more as a retainer. So we don't charge retainers. We charge based on success, and we come in as a partner in your business. And that's the real difference between a typical consulting or marketing firm and us. It's led by 3 7-figure founders that actually know what they're doing and can scale your business.
So and so it sounds like you're kind of just leaning into the same niche that you're good at, as you said, but with a different vertical. So
yes,
that's fantastic to hear. And so would you consider marketing, sales, this whole game or industry, I guess you could call it, would you consider this a passion of yours, or is this just something you're good at? So you lean into it. You know, I know there's different, I'm personally a do what you're good at kind of person, and you will learn to enjoy it if you're better than everyone at it. But, you know, I know some people say follow your passion. Others say, you know, maybe a few less of them, but they'll say what I say. They say, do what you're good at. Do you feel you should follow your passion, or do you feel you should do what you're good at?
You should follow the money. With my business, I don't wake up every day and think, oh, I love LinkedIn. Oh, I love hiring in the Philippines. Oh, I love doing these things. What that business has enabled me to do is live the dream life I want to live. Yeah. We live in Miami in a penthouse, drive nice cars, travel the world. We do what we want because we work on things that we're good at and enable us to live the lifestyle. And I think people that are afraid to acknowledge that money is a big motivator are scared. Because at the end of the day, as a man in 2025, if you're not building yourself to be the best version, both personally, professionally, and financially, physically, spiritually, in every way, and you say that money isn't a big deal to you, then I believe you're weak.
I agree.
And I believe that strong men are focused on building empires, and the people that really make a difference are able to generate a lot of wealth. So when you ask me, am I passionate about LinkedIn marketing? No. Am I passionate about making a shitload of money and impacting and changing the lives of my friends and family and building a better life for myself and them? Yes. Absolutely.
Very good, sir. Very good. I agree. Do you have any, as you go on this journey to building, and yeah, I would agree. There's a level of pragmatism, I think, that some people lose when they're told, oh, follow your passion, do what you love, this and that. It really, you can get so paralyzed by just thinking, oh, what's the thing I need to commit to, this and that. And what if that thing is watching dogs or something? I mean, you could do that. You absolutely can do that, but you're, unless you can find a way to scale that into something real. I mean, at the very least, you'll have to go into something a little bit more boring, like pet food or something. And then there's going to be, at least 70% of the time, you're not going to be petting dogs and doing what you're good. So even the most passionate people doing things, the archetype of this artist who just loves to sing or loves to do whatever, they're going to spend 80% of the time not actually singing and like tweaking with the recording and editing stuff and dealing with lawyers and things like that. And so the reality is, even if you do follow something you're passionate about, there's going to be a lot of bullshit involved. And so really, I think it's only worth it at the end of the day if you're good at it and there's money involved. If not, you should just work a job. Because then there's actual returns. There's real juice out of it at the end of the day. If you just want to do what you love, I don't think the money should even be involved. It's kind of like having to write an essay on a book that you love. It kind of takes the fun out a little bit. So I kind of like to separate it. I like to learn to love the business because I'm good at it, and it's a little bit more of a pride thing. But anyway, I totally agree with that point. And in terms of, this next business and whatnot, do you have any mentors that have stood out to you or been meaningful along this journey?
I think mentorship is one of the most important things. And if you don't have a mentor, you need to find one. Cold DM people in your industry that have built and scaled businesses and ask them for advice. If you're an athlete, you can use a tool like HeyReach to automate LinkedIn messages from your account to these types of people and send messages in the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And you'd be surprised how quick it is for people to say, yes, I want to help you. Especially if you're young, people are motivated to help you. When I was 13 is when I started my first business, and I had 100 people trying to help me. Now I'm 25, it might be 5 people. When I'm 30, it might be 1 person. So the younger you are, the easier it is for you to find mentors. And when you find the people that care about you, latch on to them, because not only are they going to help you, but you're going to help them, because it fills the soul to help people. And people want to do that, and people want to help the next generation. So mentors are critical and very important.
And those people enter, as they enter 35, 40 plus, they kind of enter into that phase of their lives where they prefer to help other people do their own things than necessarily starting something again for themselves, or allocating that time to their own thing. So people do become more inclined to help as they get older, and they're more inclined to help you if you're younger. And so just to reiterate that point, you should not be scared to reach out to people, especially if you are young, because odds are they want someone worthwhile to help. They probably like it. If you're young, definitely. So what would you say your relationship with money is, and how would you rank it in terms of importance in your life?
I think money is one of the most important, underrated things that isn't talked about because it's taboo. As a man, money is important, and you should focus every hour of your energy on becoming a millionaire and becoming the true version of yourself. Because if you aren't chasing your financial goals, you're going to be left behind in today's day and age. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to chase money. You don't even necessarily need to have a noble cause to do it. And I think people stigmatize that. Get rich, get successful, build an amazing friend group, and do everything you want in life. And money is a very important piece of that.
Yes.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that trying to be rich is a bad thing. Being rich is a great thing. And as someone who's become a millionaire at 25 years old, I can tell you it is worth the fucking hype. You need to be successful. You need to be rich, especially as a man.
I always laugh when I see those charts that say happiness plateaus as an average at 70K. And I'm just like, dude, give me a break.
It's a lie. It's a lie. And people that are rich, they say...
It just keeps going up until millions.
Right. and people that are rich, they say money doesn't matter because they want to convince the poor that it doesn't matter. The poor are stuck in a perpetual cycle of believing that money can't buy happiness. Yes, money cannot make you happy, obviously, but it can get you the lifestyle you want to live. I'm about to go on a 3-month vacation in Europe. I'm about to spend $25,000, $30,000.
Stuff like that helps.
And people especially in my age group, can't do that because they are limited by their own beliefs. If people actually gave a shit about their own life and understood that they need to make money to be successful and live the life they want to live, there would be a lot less complaining and a lot more doing and a lot more happy people. But people blame society, they blame their parents, they blame other things, and that's the reason they aren't successful, is because they make excuses. One thing that's really important, take responsibility for everything that happens to you. If I walk out of this building and the building collapses on me, I blame myself. Yep. Maybe I missed something with the architecture. Obviously, it's a silly concept, but it's true. You have to take responsibility for everything in your life. Everything is your fault as a man. And if you believe that, then there will be nothing stopping you from reaching your true potential as a man, as a businessman, and as a partner in life.
I couldn't agree more. And I also think life is just easier when you take that level of responsibility. Right. You know, I think that's something, you know, I haven't done that since I was 0 years old. I think there was, personally a time when I matured into it, but it's a lot easier, at least long-term, to blame yourself than others. Because if you're just blaming others all the time, it cultivates this energy of helplessness. Like, they did this, so now I'm screwed. They did this, so now I'm screwed. But if it's all up to you, then you're kind of the main character more so. So I totally agree with that. And do you think that, switching topics a little bit, do you think that first-time founders overthink? And do you think that you overthought back in your first business relative to right now?
So as a first-time founder, my thought was, how do I build a business and make millions of dollars? Yeah. That alone is a limiting belief. Because there's so many things that come between you actually starting your business and you getting rich. And the founders that overthink and they put this in a mountain are the ones that aren't able to even take the first step. Take the first step. Yeah. Start an LLC on InkFile, create a logo on Fiverr, come up with your distribution strategy and who you want to sell to, talk to customers, use LinkedIn to reach out. These are basic things that anyone should do to start their business. And they can try different things over and over and over again until they find the right thing. But people look at it like a mountain, not like a marathon. Yeah. And because of that, they're not able to take it to the next level. They're not able to do one thing. Yeah. I have so many friends that for years are like, I'm going to start my own business. You could start it literally today. Yep. You could literally start your business today, but no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to talk to this customer next week. You're fucking lazy. You could start your business today. You could be rich in a year if you actually gave a shit about your own life and started. But you look at things too holistically. You say, I need to do all this, and that's the reason you don't start.
100%. Yeah, it's about the brick by brick. It's about putting each brick in place.
Brick by brick.
As much as you have that big vision of empire, this and that, it is really worth noting that you start the LLC, you make one single sale, you do something.
And you want to know something funny, Jack? Yeah. When I was 19, I was building advisor appointments.
Yeah.
My whole thing was, how do I get money in my bank account? I didn't even have an LLC. I was operating in my personal name for the first 6 months. Yeah. Very risky what I was doing. Yep. I shouldn't have done that. But I was focused on generating revenue and getting money in my bank account. And at the end of the day, it's all business is. It's getting money from the client's bank account into your bank account. Yeah. And you just need to figure out how to do that, scale that, and grow. And that's all you need. That's all business is, just getting money from a bank account to another. It's not complicated. People overcomplicate the fuck out of it for no reason.
And I think you can admit that on air because we are in fact past the statute of limitations at 19. So it's been about 6 years.
Hopefully.
So you are hopefully, and it was five months and 29 days.
It's okay. I did create the LLC and I did sell the company. So
to be clear,
I should be fine.
To be clear.
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah, no, it's great advice. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, as they say. So it's very good. So why do you feel LinkedIn is such a powerful tool for marketing?
I think LinkedIn is the single biggest and most successful tool to get leads for B2B companies. If your customers are active on LinkedIn and you're not selling to them, you are throwing money down the toilet. You can start setting up automated campaigns as long as you have the right offer, the right tool, and the right outreach method, and you can start getting meetings on your calendar immediately. I book about 30 to 40 sales calls every single day through LinkedIn. Anybody can do this with a B2B business. The only reason they don't is because they have the wrong offer, the wrong software, and the wrong tool. I am 100% bullish on LinkedIn outreach as a B2B client acquisition method. This can be done for getting new customers, getting investors, getting design partners, getting anything you want in the B2B space. The first step is get LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Get LinkedIn Sales Navigator for $100 a month. You can get a free trial. Create searches, see who's on LinkedIn, who's active, who's not, what industries there are, and build backwards. Build your company around who's active. That's it.
Done. Incredible. So, as a business owner, done well at this point, what's your day-to-day like? A lot of people ask. And,
Well, to be honest, I roll out of bed at 9:30, 10 a.m. I take a couple of meetings in the morning. I go for a walk. I'm done with work by about 4 p.m. Go to the gym, hang out, chill, waste time on social media, and go to sleep. I don't even have the best habits, but I've been able to build that lifestyle by working 12 hours a day for over a year to build the company. And then I hired the right people to actually do the work. Now I really don't have much to do.
So you built and sold GrowthCo in 1 year. How did that work for you?
I started the company 12 months ago. I did a bunch of outreach to clients, scaled it, brought a bunch of people in from the Philippines, and I was able to exit that business in just 1 year. We scaled to 6-figure months really fast, and we're able to grow with the right people, processes, and systems. Anyone can build their business and sell it for $1 million if they focus on cash flow. The most important metrics in business are cost per acquisition and customer lifetime value and churn. And if you focus on those 3 metrics, which is all I focused on, increasing retention, increasing your clients, and decreasing the cost per acquisition, I was able to scale and sell it for a lot of money very fast.
Fantastic. So what was the turning point for you in your journey with building all these companies where you felt, oh my gosh, like I'm doing this? It's a little bit surreal at first. You get your first sales, it's a hype, and then you're in that.
So when I was 16 years old, me and my friend Yarden closed a social media client for $150 a month for 6 months. When I got that contract, I felt like a billionaire. And now I felt 10 times more emotion than when I closed a $50,000 deal now. Your first deal is so big for you. Yeah. And after a while, it doesn't matter. But once you have that momentum and once you feel that energy, it becomes normal. Now I can close $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in a day, and I don't feel the same way because you get used to it. Yeah. And that's how everyone needs to be. When they close their first deal, they're going to get fucking addicted. Yep. And they're going to keep growing and scaling and going and going. But you have to get to that first part. And that's the hardest part. They say your first 100K is your hardest to make. It's the same. Your first client is your hardest to get. Once you do that, it becomes like cocaine. You just get fucking addicted to it. Yeah. Literally.
Oh, yeah. And it's so good for confidence getting that
exactly.
It's
it's like approaching a girl for the first time. It's tough. But once you do it once, you can do it again and again. Yep. It's the same thing with businesses. Once you successfully build one, you can build another. Yep. But you have to take that first step. And that's what people don't do. And that's what keeps them broke.
So Zane, you cut alcohol 3.5 years ago. How has that affected your business journey, wellness, personal life, et cetera?
Well, honestly, when I was 21 and I was partying all the time and drinking all the time, I was not on the right path in life. I was letting my friends down, my family down, my business partners down. And when I made that decision to cut out alcohol, my business grew significantly. My friends and family finally had someone present and they weren't worried about me as much. Cutting out alcohol was the single best decision I ever made. And I highly encourage anybody else who is facing alcoholism or issues with drugs or other things to take that step, because that changed my entire life and made me into the person I am today.
And I'm guessing it only gets easier once you go cold turkey. The first couple weeks just hard, but after that it just
sucks, because for me, I was drinking and partying all the time. Yeah. But stopping was the best decision I ever made. And honestly, like, I'm so grateful to God, to my friends and my family for supporting me on this journey, because that was the biggest turning point in my life. And I'm very proud to say that I'm 3.5 years sober and going. And I couldn't have done it without the help and support of other people.
Well, congrats on 3.5 years, and congrats on almost 3 businesses sold.
Thanks,
At
buddy.
25.
Yeah, man. It's been quite the journey.
So Zane, what would you say is the importance of money to you?
So for me, money is very important. And I think there's a stigma against people who want to make money because people view that as bad and people judge you. But at the end of the day, money makes the world go round. With money, you can impact other people. You can donate to charity. You can help your friends and family. And honestly, money has been one of the biggest driving factors for me to be the person I am today. And though it can be a little unhealthy to obsess over it, and I don't encourage people to do that, there's nothing wrong with being money motivated. And I think anyone that isn't money motivated is really kidding themselves into some other purpose. And you know what? Great for them if they want to spend 40 years being in the Red Cross and they're a better person than me. But at the end of the day, I want to be rich. I want to provide for the people in my life, and I want to provide for my friends and family. And money is the best tool for me to do that.
If you want to make it, you got to get real with yourself. You heard it from Zane Yakub.
Exactly.
Great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, sir.